Hello, everyone. This is Thomas Pepin, NHL Talk. I'm Thomas Pepin, and let's talk about the NHL. Continuing the predictions for the playoffs and previews. And so today is the last day, and we're having a look at the games that are going to, series that are going to be starting tonight in the where the games are going to be today. And so we're going to have a look at Leafs versus Lightning and Devils versus Rangers. And just one sec to pull things up. All right, so first, if you haven't seen in the description there for this stream, there's the schedule for at least the first four games for the two series that are starting tonight. And so you can see those highlighted there. And next, I should say, so the thing that I've said on previous streams, as a reminder for the people that have seen the streams, and if anybody's new, there's certain data points that I consider relevant, where there's others that people will comment on and reference that I don't think are relevant. And so in particular, there's two things that a lot of people cover in previews, which is the past 10 games as well as season series between teams. There's no correlation. I've done a study to determine this. There's no correlation between the winners of the season series and winning the playoff series. So to reference that, I mean, it's kind of an irrelevant data point. I mean, you can consider it, but if there's no correlation, then essentially the correlation was basically zero. So if there's no correlation, then it doesn't really tell you anything. But of course, if you want to consider it, that's up to you. The second one is the past 10 games. That likewise has, again, I haven't looked up what the exact number was, but I've also done a study on that previously and found that there was, I think, little to no, but essentially no correlation, if I recall correctly, between streak going into the playoffs and the result in the first round, as well as in the playoffs, I think, in total. So anyways, so if anybody's covering those, they haven't done the research, those aren't really relevant, and you can essentially disregard. So those are two things that I won't cover and don't recommend that you put too much weight on. And so, as I mentioned again previously, I created my own algorithm to predict who's going to win the Stanley Cup. And so in the past 4 seasons, I've gotten it right. Mind you, I bet on multiple teams, and in effect, it's I just bet on who I think is favorites as a result of the algorithm, and a portion is based on just my intuition, instinct on who's got the best shots. So based on the algorithm, there's 2 primary data points that I'll cover today that are relevant in terms of being predictive. And those are save percentage and goal differential. Shot differential is also relevant, and the reason is because that could, if the two teams are basically very similar in goal differential, then maybe the shot differential could put one team over another team. So it's a kind of like a if all things are equal, a a data point that you can kind of use to pick in the end. So anyways, so those are the things that we're going to cover, and let's get to it. So we will start with New Jersey and the Rangers. So we'll pull up the stats from this season that just finished. And first, we'll rank order by differential. So New Jersey is third in the league for differential at 67 goals. That's the entire season, the differential in goals for and against, versus Rangers, which are 57. So very close, actually. So I would argue that you can't necessarily consider either team a favorite, even though, New Jersey was ahead, but I don't think you can say that makes them a favorite, because they are really close. Shot differential, New Jersey sits third and Rangers are 11th. And so third is 6.2 shots per game, and 11th is 2.2. So there is a big enough gap there where, because New Jersey had a better goal differential, add in the shot differential, and you could argue that they're definitely the favorite, at least from those two data points. So that's that. And then next, we're going to take a look at goaltender stats. Oh, we don't want playoffs. We want filter, we'll say 5 games. All the goalies organized by team. And New Jersey first. So primarily Vanacek, 52 games, and then the other Schmid, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I didn't even know that guy was playing. Anyways, so Vanacek, 33, 11, and 4, 911 save percentage, quite good. I mean, in terms of at least wins, save percentage is just a bit below league average, which I believe is 914 or 915, something like that. Blackwood, 10, 6, and 2, 893 save percentage, not very good. And Schmid, 9, 5, and 2, 922 save percentage. So quite good, at least in the games he played. Clearly best winning percentages Vanacek. Schmid, pretty decent, but the save percentage is noticeably better with him. Vanacek, from my understanding, is going to be the starter. I would probably recommend riding him at least for 3 games, regardless of how well he plays and the outcomes of the games. If you're down 3 games or down 2 games and he played poorly in a couple of those games, then I'd maybe try whoever the backup is. But I'd primarily try to ride Vanacek based on the stats and track record and all that. So that's that. So goaltending doesn't look super strong in New Jersey, but it's not horrible either. if Vanacek doesn't play well, then they could run into trouble, at least goaltending wise. But of course, actually, just out of interest, let's see. I just want to see who is the backup right now. It is Blackwood. So, yeah, if they run into trouble, then I'd be pretty concerned relying on Blackwood based on his performance in the season. Mind you, he's won, so I mean, I don't know, and he's not a bad goalie, so who knows really. And then Rangers, Shesterkin, of course, played the bulk of the games. 37, 13, and 8. Very good record. 916 save percentage, so just above league average. So not the best season for him, but definitely decent and above average. Halak was 10, 9, and 5, 903 save percentage. So not very good for Halak. So I guess first I should say for strategy-wise, Shesterkin, you just ride him straight through. I would say even if you're down 3 games, the only way I wouldn't play him in a game 4 if you're down. So basically, regardless of outcome, I would play him unless you get down 3 games and he played poorly in all 3 games. Or I should say, if they lose 3 games and he played poorly in all 3 games, then I'd maybe play Halak. But if he played poorly in 2 games and played well in 1, I'd still play him probably in the 4th game. So all the wheels would have to come off for me not to play Shesterkin. So anyway, so that's what I would say, at least for strategy of playing the goalies. In terms of comparing between the two, I'd say it's very evenly matched. From a stats perspective, from a pedigree perspective, I definitely say that Shesterkin is the best goalie. He's one of the best in the league, and I wouldn't put Vanacek in the same kind of are at the same kind of level. So goaltending, I'd say definitely Rangers have an edge. Stats wise, not really, but I think everybody would agree that definitely they have the edge, generally speaking, from goaltending. So so considering all the stats, I mean, New Jersey, because they're not far off on goaltending. They should win the series, is what it all tells us. And I forgot to pull something up, so just give me 1 sec to pull that up. Where is it? There it is. So as I was saying, so based on stats, I mean, it should be New Jersey. They should win. Everything indicates that they're going to win. But I am not going to predict that. I'm going against the data, and I'm predicting the Rangers to win. Give me 1 sec here. And then, so this is the document we've been using for predictions. So outside of the brackets is my prediction. In the brackets is what the data tells us. So I am, whoops, I want this in brackets. I'm predicting the Rangers, even though the data indicates the Devils should probably win. So technically an upset, but not everybody, I mean, most people probably wouldn't be surprised if New Jersey loses. So, one of two upsets. I'm actually predicting upsets in both series in the East, even though Islanders are down one. I got that one wrong, at least to start. I'm predicting both lower seeds to win the series there. Okay, and then so going over to the last series for the previews is Toronto and Tampa. And we'll start with goal differential. So Toronto ranks 5th at 58 goal differential for the season, and Tampa is 11th with 28. So nearly double, or sorry, that is more than double. So Toronto is a noticeable favorite, at least in that regard. I mean, the gap's enough, but I don't think it's a crazy gap. It's not like Boston to Florida kind of gap, but yeah, there's enough of a gap, but it's not a crazy gap, is what I would say for goal differential. And then next, shot differential. So Toronto is 8, Tampa is 16. So Tampa had a differential of 0.5 shots per game. What did I say Toronto was? 8. And Toronto's 2.5. So Toronto leads again in shot differential. Not by a crazy margin, but it's something. So from a goal differential and a shot differential perspective, Toronto is the favorite. Based on that data. And then moving over to wrong thing. Goaltending stats. We'll start with Toronto. So, primarily Samsonov. He played 42 games and then basically split between the other rest of the goalies. So, he was 27, 10, and 5. 919 save percentage, so above league average, pretty decent. And then Murray 14, 8, and 2, although I believe he's still injured. 903 save percentage, not very good. Callaghan 324, 898, not very good. Joseph Wall 6-1-0, 932. So not much of a sample size for Callaghan and Wall. Murray, not very good. And then Samsonov's the only one that's good. So strategy-wise, what I would say, ride Samsonov. Probably same sort of story as what I said with Shesterkin. Play him all 3 games. The only way you'd ever play anybody else is if he plays poorly and you lose 3 games. So, so basically, like I said, just ride Samsonov straight to the end. Then moving over to Tampa. Vasilevsky 34, 22, and 4, 915 save percentage, so basically league average. Good winning percentage though. Elliott 12, 8-2, 891 save percentage. Not very good. This team, obviously, Vasilevsky, you would play him even if he played poorly in all games because he's arguably the best goalie in the league. So, no-brainer in terms of goaltending strategy. Maybe, if he plays really poorly and you're way behind in the game, maybe play Elliott to finish off games, but that's the most I would ever put him in net. So that's that. And altogether, at league average, good winning percentage, but not crazy good. But it's Vasilevsky, so you play him. So stats-wise, Toronto has the lead for goaltending. Mind you, Samsonov played a lot less games, so sometimes with a smaller sample size, your stats look better. So there's that. But still, they have a lead, at least in goaltending stats. But Vasilevsky, he's the best goalie in the league, so you can't really argue otherwise. So in that regard, like I said, stats-wise, Toronto has the goaltending lead, but Tampa definitely has the better goaltending. So really, in the end, if you go back to all the stats, they're the favorites, but not by a crazy margin. They should technically win, but it's not a certain win. It's, what's a comparable? Well, I guess the one we just went through, Rangers Devils, it's kind of that close. What are the other series? That's basically it. I'd say it's maybe technically, based on the data, slightly less or slightly not as close as the Devils Rangers series, but I would argue that it's just as close basically. And so another one that I'm actually predicting, technically an upset. So I'm predicting Tampa to win. I don't think Toronto is ever going to beat Tampa, at least right now. So I have Tampa winning. I don't see Toronto breaking their, whatever you want to call it, spell, their, whatever. Anyways, there's some sort of phrase for it, or saying, yeah. So the data says Toronto, but I'm saying Tampa. So based on that altogether, I'm predicting 3 technical upsets, so 2 of the series are actually close, and it's kind of a coin toss. So Tampa, Toronto, Devils, Rangers. And then the only real noticeable upset I'm choosing is Islanders over Hurricanes. So anyways, so those are my predictions here. From yesterday, not the best start. So Oilers lost, Dallas lost, and Islanders lost. So I was 1 for 4. Not a very good start, but it's a long playoffs, 7-game series. You got to win 4 games. Winning 1 doesn't necessarily mean anything. So, and plus, actually, no, I was going to say about the home teams. So Edmonton was home, and Dallas was also home, and they lost. So, so I can't even make that as a case for me being potentially still right. So we just have to see what happens actually in the end. And then the last thing, we take a look at the uh, odds. Now, these have been changed slightly based on the outcome of the first game. So, for example, uh, Islanders went down and Carolina went up. But these series haven't started, so they should still be technically the same as they were yesterday. So the best of these teams is Toronto at 9-1. As I mentioned previously, 9 or 10-1 is odds that I kind of target for favorites. So if you have Toronto as a potential favorite to win the cup, those are decent odds. Not a bad bet. Personally, I don't have them as a favorite to win the cup, so I don't like those odds. I would probably want for them maybe somewhere around 16-1, 19-1. I mean, people would probably see that's crazy different, but that's what I would want. So I don't like the odds, but if you really think Toronto can win, those are pretty good odds. So worth considering. Next best is New Jersey. Yes, New Jersey. Sorry, I have to remember which teams have played. 11-1. Again, if you think they're a favorite, those are good odds, but I don't have them even close to being a favorite. So for them, I'd probably want 21-1, probably more towards 26 or 30-1. So really don't like those odds. Would never put money on New Jersey, but if they're one of your favorites, like I said, 9 or 10-1, they're not bad, but no chance for me. Rangers 15-1. I'd say that's probably about right. Yeah. So maybe, like 16-1, 15-1 is perfectly fine. I'd say those are really good odds to bet on if you think they got a good shot at a cup. And I'd say they're, not one of my favorites, but they're up there. So a decent bet at 15-1. And last, Tampa Bay 21-1. Jeez, those are good odds. I like those odds. I think they're fantastic. At this point, even with Tampa, I'd be willing to do 15. You could even get away with maybe 9 or 10-1 if you think they're a favorite. So 21-1, I think, is outstanding odds to put money on Tampa. Definitely would consider betting on Tampa. So that's that, and I think that covers everything for the day. So just to recap, first round predictions, I have Vegas over Winnipeg, Edmonton over LA, Colorado over Seattle, Dallas over Minnesota, Boston over Florida, Tampa over Toronto, Islanders over Hurricanes, Rangers over Devils. And then game one predictions for tonight. I'm basically just going to go with my picks for the series. So Vegas to beat Winnipeg, Colorado to beat Seattle, Tampa to beat Toronto, and Rangers to beat the Devils. So that's it. So those are the predictions. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's a long playoffs, like I said. You never really know. Game ones, I've even done statistics on that, and game ones don't necessarily predict who's going to win the series. I forget what the correlation was, but it's not anything crazy high. So if a team gets down first game, not all things are lost. they've still got a shot, especially if they're the away team and they lose the first game. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. So I'd argue, even if my predictions don't look the best so far, we'll see how it all goes. But really what matters most, at least for me, because I bet on futures for Stanley Cup winner, so all I have to worry about is one of my teams winning the cup. So I don't really care how round one goes, even round two. It kind of matters once you get to what is it? So 16, 8. So yeah, it would be the conference finals is really the only time that I kind of care too much about the outcomes. So so we'll see. That's the one benefit about betting on who's going to win the cup as opposed to series or games even. I've had a really tough time predicting games, and so I've kind of given up on that. Basically, whenever I've tried to bet on those, I break even and nothing, so there's no point in doing it. I've gotten the Stanley Cup winner right in terms of, one of the teams I bet on, so that's been good. I just noticed this season, maybe it's existed previously, but I just noticed that there's series betting, so I'm trying that out this season. We'll see how that goes. Otherwise for me, like I said, it's, not too critical how things shake out in the first round. Kind of later on down the line that it matters more to me. So, So anyway, so those are my predictions, previews for the series. Moving forward, I think, like I've said previously, I think I'm going to have one stream that I'm going to try to target sort of in the middle of the first round about a topic that I already know what it is, but I'm not going to announce it until just before the stream. So that's the plan, and then I'm going to do a series recap, probably all series in one stream, I'm thinking, because it's going to be kind of something quick that I just, give my thoughts. And then previews, same sort of thing as how I've done it. What I'll probably do, because how many is there next round? So there's 4 series next round. So what I'll probably do is a preview. It depends on how many how many days are between the series end and the series start. What I'll probably do is the same as what I did for the last 2 previews that I've done, where I do day 1 of the second round first, and then day 2, the second day, potentially day of, but that's probably how I'll break it up, not by conference, because usually what they do is they stagger the conferences, so there's one game from each conference each day, partially because of viewership. You can do early game, late game, but also probably because of conference, so just have one of each conference each day. So so that's probably the plan moving forward, just to give you an update on progress for NHL 23 that I'm going to be doing streams on those. So as I mentioned previously, the Be a Pro one, I think I'm done testing, but I won't start that quite yet. Still testing the franchise mode. Getting pretty close, I think, to being comfortable with it, but I'm probably still a week or 2 away to be totally ready to go for that. So if I had to take a guess, I'm probably not starting either series until at the earliest during the conference finals round, and at the latest probably after the playoffs, but that's what it's looking like. we'll figure that out as we go. But that's kind of the plan so far. So so those are the updates, and that's everything. So so if you like the stream, hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications. Otherwise, channel homepage has upcoming streams on the days that I do have the streams. It should be 3 p.m. Eastern. As you saw for today, I had to delay it by about 15 minutes. But yeah, it should be 3 p.m. Eastern. But just check the channel homepage to see what the time is. And if there's any changes closer to the stream where I have to delay things like I did today, it'll tell you. Otherwise, any comments, leave them in the comments. Suggestions, same thing. And we'll see you after the first round, I guess. Well, sorry. Halfway through the series. And then, just some random topic. So I got ahead of myself there. It's not at the end of the series. So anyways, so that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys. I think it'll probably turn out being Monday. It could be Wednesday. Anyways, so I'll see you guys soon.